I'm David Siegel. I'm going to show you how to set a fence on a crosscut sled with perfect accuracy at a perfect right angle for perfect cuts using no fancy tools and no calculators. To do this, you're going to need some glue. This is just regular wood glue. Actually, don't like Gorilla Glue. Titebond. I think this is Titebond 2. You're going to need your sled with a kerf cut in it already, and your runner set, which I've done in another video. I'll point to it right here, maybe. And you're going to need a very square square. This has to be perfect right angle along 2 feet. If you don't have this, this isn't going to work. And buying them doesn't really work either, unless you want to pay $300. If you pay 30 or 40 bucks for one, it's not going to be square. So I just made one, and I have a video on how to do that. And this is perfectly square, and that's the key. So you're going to start by putting a single hole into the bottom of your sled. And I've already done this for a couple of other demos, so I'll just show you quickly. This is just going to be a hole here, and because I'm using MDF, I don't need to countersink it, but it's a good idea to countersink it. And then we'll put on the fence like this, and just so it doesn't flip over, I'll put my weights up here to hold it down. And what you want to do is have a hole. This is called a pivot hole, and it's going to go in, some distance in from the side and right in the middle. Here's one right in the middle. Somewhere in the middle, doesn't really matter. And this is going to be a nice snug hole. I've got my screw. I've got my holes ready here. And then my fence. Figure out which face of your fence is going to go forward. You don't really need to clamp this. You can just get it in and snug it up. Yeah. This is pretty simple. Pretty snug. We are ready to glue. This doesn't take long once you have your runner set. Again, it's critical that this is perfectly square. You're not going to adjust this. There's no 5-cut method. There's no calculations or math. You're just going to nail it the first time. I'm just going to put some glue in here. Not a lot. Don't have to overdo it. You can see I've done it here before. Okay. You can also use tape here. You see, you won't have the lines I have, so I use tape, to kind of block off this area. I don't want any glue outside here, so tape is a good idea. I'm assuming you're going to use plywood, not MDF. And look, here we're going to set this, I'm going to lift it a little bit up and down. It's important to have a square that is thicker than this little 1/4-inch chamfer down here. You don't want the square to go in there. In case you have an aluminum square and you need to use that, then use a piece of something straight here and you go up against that, because a thin, like 1/8 of an inch aluminum or steel square will go down in there, and that's not a good place. That's gonna defeat the purpose. And now I'm moving the fence to get it I'm lining it up with one eye. And in fact, I'm using the wrong edge here. I want to use this edge. This is the edge that I designed to be right. So I want to line this up by eye with the edge of the slot. And I'm going to move the fence until it's perfect. I'm just going to dial it in until I see the same distance. And this is where you have to take a little bit of time and get it right, because this is where you want it to be perfect. Just get a little like a thumbnail, a fingernail width. So you have a black void that you're looking at, and you want that black line to be consistent. And you just want, this is what's really important. Everything else is going to be based on this. Don't move your eye. Just bring it into perfect alignment. I'm moving here. I'm moving the end of the fence. Okay, and that's it. You're done. When you have it set, you're done. The glue is going to do its work, so all you do is put some weight on top. And walk away. That's it. Obviously, and tomorrow I like to wait till it's overnight. Why rush it? Give it 6 or 8 hours at least. Then you can flip it over and you can put in your holes and you're done. This is it. You don't even have to check it. It's perfect. This is perfect. The alignment is perfect, so you're gonna have a perfect sled. I will finish it and I will show you that this is the fastest, most accurate way to set a fence. All right, now this is set. It's the next day. You can flip it over. And the idea is to put another screw in on the other end. And the key to this is to use a very snug hole. So I've already made a line where the center of my fence is going to be. And that way it's easy for me to put all my holes in. And you don't need many because the glue is pretty good. So you really want a tight fit here. You don't want it to be doing its own, you don't want it to do its own self-centering thing. So you want to make sure the pilot hole is longer than the screw. So you need a nice deep hole that's just the right size. And you'll be using plywood. I'm going to take this apart, so I'm not using plywood. And so you'll do a little countersink. This has to be under, like so. And then drive the screw in. It's important that this is snug, otherwise it could move your fence around. Okay, and again, you don't need to test this. This is square, but so you can go ahead and put your other screws in, or you can test it, it's fine. You can always unglue it in case you don't like it. To test the alignment of a fence, you want to make sure that it's exactly 90 degrees, and there are two methods. The first is the double square method, and the second is the 5-cut method. In both cases, you want to use a piece of material that is taller than this little area on your fence, because you don't want to be under there, so at least 1/4 inch. And you want to use the biggest distance you can get to make the test. Now, so I'm just going to cut 2 identical squares. And you can see this isn't parallel, but that's going to come out, you'll see. Okay, I've cut 2 squares with the same stop. And now let's check. There's a little bit of camber here, so that makes it a little harder. Do it this way. Makes it harder. So here we have pretty good alignment, but here's the test. The test is to do this. Now if you don't get any rise and run issues, you see, then it's square. And this is going to pass the 5-cut method test. This is any test. Your fence is going to be square because you went to the trouble to make this a perfectly square that you can use for all kinds of other applications. And you'll be able to do absolutely square boxes, corners, and other things that have to fit perfectly, frames and anything else, with a sled that is set up using the glue and carpenter square method.